Hi everybody! So I'm going to be talking to you about Huntington's disease, which is an autosomal dominant genetic disorder. And what happens is a progressive breakdown of nerve cells in the brain. So the signs and symptoms, they can be separated into three categories or areas of life. We have motor, cognitive, and behavioral. So motor affects like their gait pattern, cognitive would affect personality. Cognitive affects the memory, and behavioral affects more of the personality. So the signs would be unsteady gait and chorea, which is involuntary movements, and there's lots of symptoms, including dysarthria, slurred speech, dysphagia, difficulty swallowing, forgetfulness, impaired judgment, personality changes, like I said, mood swings, and depression. So how do we diagnose Huntington's disease medically? Well, when someone suspects they have a gene, they're going to go do genetic testing. They're going to go to a specific testing center, and we have one nearby. We have the UCI Medical Center, and you're going to submit their DNA and wait a few weeks. And you get your results. So what's going to happen is on chromosome number 4, there's going to be a triple repeat. So instead of just one section, it's going to repeat itself 3 times. So we actually don't know the actual function of the gene on chromosome 4, but we know that when it repeats 3 times, that's toxic to the brain cells, and it's specifically toxic to the basal ganglia. That's also the area that's affected in other disorders like Parkinson's and Tourette syndrome. There's no cure. We can't genetically modify or anything, and the medical treatment is to treat each symptom individually. For some people, some symptoms respond to medicine, but really the physical therapists and the occupational therapists are the ones that can be really life-changing for the people with Huntington's disease. So we're going to go over what the PT can do for those people, for people with HD, and that's what we're going to do next. The disease is progressive. So PT treatment depends on what stage of the disease that the person is in. We definitely need to advocate for PT because the patients have depression or other behavior changes, and sometimes those take precedence, so the physical side of things can be overlooked. So we want to start early intervention because that's going to help maintain the physical function, but it also helps with the stress of being diagnosed with this disease. So for implications for the PT, we're going to break it down into those 3 divisions: the motor, the cognitive, and the behavioral. So for motor, so PTAs, we need to focus on these things: aerobic health for heart, active range of motion, keep your joints moving, functional strength training to maintain strength, balance exercises to prevent falls. So for balance, we definitely want to focus on this. We want to progress from a wide stance to a narrow base of support, and we can also progress from static balance to dynamic functional activities, incorporating balance into the ADLs. Moving on to the cognitive. So people with HD might not think that they really need physical therapy. So we're going to have to be persistent in explaining what the benefits are and communicating this to our patients. Also, the patients, they're going to have a big team of caregivers and doctors, and so it's our job to communicate with the whole team. People with HD have memory issues. Like I said, one of their symptoms is memory loss, so we will be required to do repetition, and it's helpful to have early intervention. As far as the behavioral aspects, we treat the whole person, like we learned. So we need to show compassion if they're depressed and have mood swings. We want to remind the patient and the team that exercise is a natural antidepressant. The prognosis doesn't look good. The age of onset is usually between 30 and 50, and there's no cure. So they're going to have a progressive decline for the next 10 to 25 years, and it's terminal. Kids can get it too. So about 10% of the cases appear in the youth. So that's defined as before the age of 20. We call that juvenile HD. And it progresses faster than. But we have societies like Huntington's Disease Society of America that helps these people and their families, and we can be a part of it. The HDSA motto is help for today and hope for tomorrow. So HDSA is very active in supporting families affected by Huntington's disease. And they actually have a chapter here right in Orange County. One of the events that's coming up is the Team Hope Walk at the Santa Ana Zoo. You can sign up by searching Team Hope Walk on the HDSA website, or you can join the OC chapter and get involved that way. It's important for PTAs to support people with Huntington's disease and their families, and we can really make a positive impact on their lives.